This is 7:30 Tea with Ree.
So I'm like, oh my god, I'm literally stranded in a flooding canal.
He's like, oh, I hope you don't mind. I invited my friends.
When he pulls up to pick me up, he's in a weird-looking van.
Ree is spilling all the tea. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 7:30 Tea with Ree. How are you guys doing this week? I know that I'm doing pretty alright this week. Nothing too crazy has been going on. I mean, like, kind of, but, like, not, like, crazy. Like, I think the week is calming down a little bit. I had, like, a crazy hectic week in the last episode, like I told you guys, but this week, I got to go to that Yankees game that I told you guys about, so that was really fun. Like I said, like, I hadn't seen the Yankees in a long time. And I also just, like, don't watch sports really in general, but the game was really cool, and the meeting the dad part went well. We didn't get to talk too much because of, like, the way the seating was, but I got to meet his stepmom, which was pretty cool, and she and I talked, like, the whole time, which I was like, oh, this is great. So basically, I was just, like, happy that I was, like, getting along with everyone, and I wasn't socially awkward, and I felt, like, comfy. I was good. We also got, like, really good parking because his dad used to be in the NYPD or whatever. I think he said that he was, like, the captain or something is what John told me. So I thought that was cool. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, we got good parking. I didn't have to walk far. And I get real lazy sometimes. Like, even though I go to the gym and stuff, like, one thing about me is I get out of breath, like, really fast. And I never mean to. I just am like this. And I just can't help it. But I've actually been trying to run a lot more lately and walk and jog and stuff like that. Like, I've been doing that around the neighborhood. I think I mentioned that in the last episode, but I can't really remember. But I've been trying to do that a lot because I get, like, out of breath, like, really fast. Like, I don't know. I guess I just have shitty lungs. I don't know if it's that or maybe I'm just out of shape. I have no clue, but even when I was, like, teeny tiny skinny in high school, like, I still used to be out of breath fast. So it's just been like that for forever. So I'm just trying to, like, build up stamina, you know, and just make sure that my health is in check. So I'm just trying to run more, jog more, walk more, and just get my steps in. I've also been trying to be healthier by drinking kombucha and aloe vera juice. Because I was watching this TikToker talk about, like, the benefits of both of those things. She said that the kombucha helps with bloating. And she was also saying that the aloe vera juice can help with that too, but it really helps with the skin. So I was like, oh my god, I'm going to, like, try both of these. So that's what I did. And so far, so good. Like, I feel like it's had really great effects. And I feel like the kombucha has definitely helped with my gut health. I feel like my stomach literally looks more toned, and that's crazy because it's like I've been doing, like, the workouts and stuff too, but I feel like it would have looked that way even without some of the workouts. I just definitely see, like, a significant difference, and I also feel better too. Like, I just feel healthier. So, you know, try it, you guys, because it was honestly really good. And I also didn't expect it to taste actually good, too. I got the kombucha health aid, it's called, at Whole Foods, and I got the pomegranate cranberry flavor. Honestly, like, go ahead and try it. And also, pomegranate's really good, too, especially for your, you know, if you're a woman, it's good for your cooch. Like, apparently it helps, like, with pH or something. I'm not entirely sure if you could say that. I know that it helps with, like, it smelling nice and this stuff. So, like, you know, try that. But anyways, aside from that, tomorrow I'm going to be going to Connecticut for a photo shoot. I'm going to be giving a grad shoot. I have not done a grad shoot in forever, but usually every single time around this year, in the spring, every time spring comes around, people start reaching out to me again for doing grad shoots. So that's when I get a little popular again, and I don't offer, I offer photo shoots and stuff still technically, like, I will do them, but I don't advertise them as much anymore. But honestly, I might start doing it because, I mean, it's just extra side money. I guess I just, like, haven't in a bit because I've been focused on other things, other career type of stuff, like social media kind of things. So maybe I might start advertising that again to try and get more shoots. But I'm excited to go tomorrow for that grad shoot because I haven't seen my campus in forever. If you guys know, I went to Sacred Heart University in Connecticut. So I honestly did like that school for the most part. I felt like it could have been way more diverse, if I'm being real, but I still, for the most part, enjoyed my time and enjoyed the people that I did meet, even if I didn't end up with like a lot of lifelong friends. Like I do appreciate the few that I do have. So I really overall am grateful for the experience there. So I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go and have fun tomorrow and be all hyped up. But anyways, let's get into this episode already. So this is a tea droplets episode, which if you guys don't know what tea droplets is, it's this segment that I do at the end of every month. So basically in this segment, these are stories from the coffee shop. So every single Saturday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., I go into Dark Horse Coffee and Kitchen in Sayville on Long Island. And I basically try to get people to come up to my microphone to try and tell stories in person, or I also try to get them to write in stories or like write them in this little notebook that I have there as well, and it can be totally anonymous. So basically, these stories in this episode today are all from the coffee shop people. I call them my sippers. Well, also, that's just your guys' fan base name too, my sippers, but it's just like even funnier in the coffee shop because they're all literally actually sipping on something when they come and tell the stories. So, yeah. Basically, the point of this segment is to just get like small little, quick little secrets and stories or whatever that people want to share on the spot. But before I get into these little like stories, little things that were shared or little secrets, I'm going to tell you what this podcast is about in case you're new here and you're confused. So, this podcast is all about spilling tea and sharing your deepest, darkest secrets. So, if you have any tea to spill, DM me on Instagram at 730tea with Ree, and you spell that 730 TEAWITHRIE, or you can DM me on my main Instagram account at Rihanna Flores, and you spell that RIEANNAFLORES. And if you wish to be anonymous, please let me know. Stories should be up to 500 words or less. And if you want to send an audio voice message in instead of typing out your story, just please keep it up to 5 minutes max. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to spill the first secret of the day that was shared from someone. Now, these secrets are all pretty much anonymous, and also this one that was shared was just like a quick little secret. It was actually shared in the little book that I mentioned. So, this little book that I do, I call it the Sisterhood of the Traveling Tea because it's this little notebook where people can just like write down quick little secrets, or if they want to write out a full story in there, they can too. But for this one, someone decided to write a quick little secret. So, this one says, don't know how to put the father of my kid on child support. Okay, so fun fact, I actually don't know how to do that either. I actually have no actual idea how to do that. But if I were you, girl, I would Google it, or I would maybe ask someone who is a single mother and does that actively. But I'm also honestly so nosy about this because I just want to know, like, what's the situation here? Like, is that bad of me to be nosy? But I'm nosy though. Like, is this a good situation between you and the father? Do you guys have, like, a cordial kind of situation going on with you and the baby daddy? Or is it something where it's a little bit, like, toxic? Like, I want to know details on this kind of thing. And I also do want to know if you actually ended up figuring that out or not. So if you are listening to this right now and you wrote this and you remember writing this, I would love for you to most definitely reach out to me and let me know any updates you have on this, because I have no idea how to, like, get someone to do child support. I've never had a child ever, and I've also never Googled that kind of stuff too. So maybe I might Google it after this episode because I am actually curious how all of that works. Like, I'm just like not a parent yet, so I have no idea, but please keep me updated and reach out to me and let me know how it went. But anyways, we're gonna be going into the next secret that somebody shared. So this one is actually more of like a cutesy sweet one. Someone just like wrote something simple and cute. They were like, I moved from Puerto Rico to New York 2 years ago and I met the love of my life. The best decision I have ever made. Girl, that shit's so cute. I love when people are just like happy and in love. Like I like right now I feel really good in the new relationship I'm in. We have not said like the L word to each other yet because it's like new, but I definitely think that we'll easily get there. I mean, I think I'm, feeling things. I don't want to say it cuz sometimes he listens on this thing. So like I'm not going to like really talk too much on that cuz I don't want to like just hey, if you're listening, stop listening right now, or skip this part. Anyways, yeah, I just love. Back to this secret. That is so cute. Like, I want to know how you guys met. Like, that's adorable that like you moved here and then like unexpectedly you just like meet the love of your life. Isn't it crazy how life works like that? Like sometimes you just meet someone when you're not even expecting it. I feel like that's the most common way that people meet, like when they're absolutely not expecting it and when it's in good timing. I feel like usually a lot of people know when they meet like the right person. And I didn't think that was true, but like now I feel like that is actually true because I see it a lot. I feel like sometimes, depending on who it is and just the way you connect, or maybe it's the way that you look at each other and stuff like that, you really can tell if that's going to be your person or not. Like right off the bat, or just like how you feel right away. Sometimes I feel like when it just feels supernatural and not just like a forced natural or like a overanalyzed type of like, oh, like we have a lot in common, so this should be great. Like an actual genuine spark and connection, like a mix of everything, like just a lot of chemistry. I feel like if you guys are in love, you know what I mean by this. Like you can easily tell that someone is the right person. So it's just so cute that, you moved here 2 years ago and then you like met the love of your life and now they're in your life and they're going to be in your life for forever. Like that's just beautiful to me. So, I'm happy for you and congrats. And if you are listening to this episode right now and you wrote this anonymously, please tell me how you guys met. I want all of the details. I want all of the tea. I love to hear how people first met. I think it's cute. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to be getting into the next story. So this one's an actual story instead of just like a little tiny secret. And this one was shared on the spot at the coffee shop. So, yeah, this one's basically about the invisible string theory type of vibe, which I love shit like that. Like, and if you don't know what the invisible string theory, it's basically this whole theory about how everybody who is in your life right now, like you were supposed to meet them and you didn't meet them until right timing. Kind of what I just mentioned in like the last little thing we were talking about, like just about how there's like certain people that you don't meet until the time is genuinely right, until everything lines up. Like things that line up in their life also line up with yours. Like everything's just super in sync. And the idea of the red string theory is that, because because there's certain people that you meet like and that they're supposed to be in your life, it's like they have always been connected to you in some way throughout your entire life, but you just didn't meet just yet. So, okay, I'll give you an example. Have you ever seen those little trends, or not trends, maybe like those viral pictures and stuff of how people say that when they met the love of their life, like things made sense, but they started noticing like, oh, like we actually could have met when we were younger because we were in the same place at the same time type of thing. Like there was this viral picture that went around of this couple when they were babies. They were both in strollers at Disney World. but obviously like they didn't know who each other like was at that age, like they were 3 and 4 years old type thing. But there's a picture of this girl, like it's a baby picture of her in a stroller in Disney World, and her husband is in the stroller next to her when he's that age, like behind her in the back or whatever. Like he's just one of those background people in a picture. But they were looking through their old albums, and I guess they were looking at baby pictures of her, and they just so happened to notice that he was in the background of it because he recognized his stroller and everything. But it's just crazy because it's like now that's her husband. So that's kind of the idea of the invisible string theory, that like these people are connected to you your whole life and you cross paths a whole bunch of time, but you don't meet them until way later in life when the timing is right. So yeah, I hope I explained that the right way. But anyways, this girl, she shared her story at the coffee shop on the spot. So I'm going to play the audio of that.
Hey guys, it's Bree with Ree, and here's a story about how I ended up in the house I grew up in without even knowing it. So when I was younger, I had my first partner. He and I had known each other for a few years, and actually he was a friend of one of my sisters. I'm a triplet, fun fact, so I had another sister as well, and it was the sister who wasn't one of the triplets, actually, who knew this guy for a while. We grew up together, whatever, he'd been around. So we started hanging out, we started dating, and one of the first times that we hung out together, we were down in Patchogue, and we ended up in, he ended up being like, hey, why don't you come over and meet my friends? Why don't we get together? And this would be like the first time that I'd ever met them before, and it'd be the first time that we were all hanging out, and I was a little nervous, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I go and I meet up with him and his friends, and we meet up at one of his friends' house. For the identity's sake of the story, we'll call him Henry. So I went to his friend Henry's house. So I went to Henry's house, and I'm sitting there, and they have like these twinkly Christmas lights all over the house, and it's a small little house, and it's sitting behind this house that's facing the front street, right? So you kind of have to like walk through this back path to get there. And I'm sitting there in the living room, and we're waiting for Henry to come downstairs before we end up going down. We're gonna go downtown to Patchogue and walk around and everything. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, wow, this place, it just feels so cozy. I feel so comfortable here. It's wild. You know, I just feel at home. And so we sit there, we pregame a little bit, we are hanging out, and we all walk down to town, and we're out all night to odds hours of the morning. And we're having a really, really great time, and we all end up back at Henry's place. And so they were all going to sleep over. There was a whole bunch of couches to crash on, and I decided I'm going to go home. I like my bed. So I go home, and the next morning, at that time, I didn't have a car. So I had hitched a ride with my mother. And I'm like, hey mom, I need a ride tomorrow morning. Could you drop me off this place? She's like, no problem, I'll come pick you up. So she comes, picks me up to drop me off. And when she comes to pick me up, she's like, what was that address again that you said? And so I said, oh, and at this point I can't even remember the address, but I said, it's this and this. And she's like, I'm sorry, say that one more time? I said, it's this and this. And she's like, you mean our old house? I was like, no freaking way. So it turns out, so I walk there, and I get there in the morning, and I show up, and I look at the front of the house, and I'm like, holy shit, this is the house I grew up in. This is the house that I was in when I was ages, like 1 through 5 or so, or maybe it was even like 6, 8. So from like the tiny, I could remember like sitting at the top of the stairs and refusing to, come down because I wasn't getting my way, or when one of my sisters had a temper tantrum because she was wearing a dress and they wanted her to wear pants and she refused to come down. And like, so I get there and I'm like, holy crap, like this is the house I grew up in. This is why it was so familiar. This is why I was so comfortable with these people. And I come back in, and Henry comes downstairs, and they're all, groggy, not really awake yet. I was like, hey, so upstairs, is this the layout? And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, is this the layout of the house? There's these 2 bedrooms, and the windows face this way, and the doorway goes here, and there's the closet over here, and like there's that one window that won't fully open. And he was like, yeah, I don't remember us going upstairs. Like, how do you know this? And I was like, because this was my house. So it turns out that it was the house that I had lived in. And so the premise of this, too, was that the boyfriend at the time that I was dating lived in a house in front of this house, the one that was facing the street. So we have the the street facing house. Then we have behind that Henry, his friend's house, who we had hung out in for the first time. And then it turns out, like, later on, that I end up finding out that the house directly behind that house, where there was this guy who used to actually work at the there was a shopping center basically with a jewelry counter that my father used to go growing up to buy jewelry for me and my sisters. And it turns out that the guy who used to help us there, who was very identifiable, had very curly hair, he was always bright and bubbly, super, super sweet dude, and he always would help him pick out stuff for us. He lived in the house right behind it. And then let's take it even a step farther. So then my sister had dated this girl at one point, this woman rather, they were adult, and her best friend had lived in the house that was directly next to the house in front. So this means that I had the 4 surrounding houses and the house that I grew up in, all connected by different people that I knew in different versions and different pathways of my life. And I never would have known if I didn't show up that day and had needed to hitch a ride from my mom, who had verified that that was the home that we lived in. And that's the story of how I ended up back in my old house.
Whew, okay, guys, isn't that crazy? That's like the craziest. Like, when I was listening to that in the coffee shop, I was like, I got chills. I got chills listening to that because I was just like, that's really crazy how the timing of that was, and just like who was placed in her life, and just all of that is really crazy. So like, let's recap this. So basically, what we got from this is that she and her boyfriend at that time or whatever went to the boyfriend's friend's house. The friend's name is Henry, so they went to Henry's house, which Henry's house used to be her house growing up from ages 1 to 5. She grew up in that house or whatever. And in front of that house was her boyfriend's house. And behind Henry's house, which was her house, behind Henry's house, was this man's house who the father used to go to this jewelry store where that man worked at. Isn't that okay? I hope I didn't sound like confusing, because it is kind of confusing because it's a lot of people, but it's kind of crazy how many people like were in your life that were just around you that entire time, but you had no idea because you didn't meet them until different points in your lives. But isn't that really weird how that worked? Like, the fact that they were all around you at like that entire time, but you just did not meet them yet. That's just crazy to me. It just really goes to show that people are genuinely placed in your life for a reason, and even if they don't, realize it, or maybe you don't meet them until later, they are placed there. Whether you know it or not, they're there one way or another. You just won't meet them till later, or maybe you won't connect with them properly until later. It's kind of like, okay, have you guys ever, maybe you've said hi or waved to somebody in the hallways at school, right? And that's all you've ever done with them. That's all you just see someone in school, but then like, I don't know, you end up going to college with them, and then you're like, oh my god, a familiar face, and then let's say you guys end up being roommates or whatever, and then you realize like, oh my god, this person's like actually really cool, and then you're like, oh my god, wait, this person has so much in common with me, and then you're like, oh my god, what the hell, like, this person just introduced me to my husband, like, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself there. That could be alright, maybe I can make that into a story, but isn't that just kind of crazy? Like, sometimes it's just the little things like that where it's like, you never know, like, some person who could just seem like the smallest little person in your life, where it's like they're just a small little a portion of your life for a second, they could really mean a lot 10 times later. Like, something that they could do could really help you in some way where it really just alters your life like crazy. Which I asked her after, if you guys are wondering, like, oh my god, like, all that happened, and like, she was with the boyfriend too, and the boyfriend lived across the street. If you're wondering anything of like what happened with her and the boyfriend, I had actually asked her questions after, because I was curious about that, because I wanted to know, like, oh my god, are you guys like still together? But okay, they actually aren't together anymore. But she did tell me that he definitely changed her life after. Like, not change it, but, obviously, like, you do the own changing. But I would say she said that she kind of, like, gained more perspective on things and, like, grew a lot more as a person from that relationship. But isn't that just interesting? I don't know. I just find this whole concept so fascinating, the whole invisible string theory vibe about, like, certain people being placed in your life at certain times when you need it to help you grow at different times, and how it can really change who you are as a person and really add to your experience as a human being. So, yeah, I feel like we got a little deep there. But yeah, anyways, that was the story, and I really enjoyed that. I really love hearing things like that. I just think it has like a little spiritual vibe to it, and I just love you. We love a good spiritual vibe. So, yeah. Anyways, we're going to be getting into the fourth little thing that was shared. So this one was kind of wild. So someone wrote this in the little mini book. So they said, my boyfriend's friend has a girlfriend that looks like me, and I recently found out that he has been telling people he thinks I'm hot and wants to hook up with me. My boyfriend knows, but now I feel very awkward around him. My boyfriend has suspected he liked me for years, but now we have proof and I don't know what to do. Okay. I have concerns here, like a lot of concerns here, like more than one. Okay. So, I am really curious to know, like, what has your boyfriend, like, done about this, is what I kind of really want to know. Because if he suspected that that kid liked you, like, but you guys are all friends, I mean, does he ever say anything to him about that? Like, I'm just curious to know if, like, your boyfriend stood his ground or anything. Like, that's what I'm very curious about. Because the biggest thing is trying to make sure that you feel comfortable, and I feel like you definitely don't sound like you feel comfortable. I think maybe try to speak to your boyfriend to see if he can, speak up to his friend and be like, "Oh, hey, that's not cool." Stuff like that. Or you could also talk to the friend directly and be like, "Hey, like, I heard that you said these things about me and I'm uncomfortable about it." And then also, it's not fair to that girlfriend too, for her boyfriend to be going around saying, like, "Oh my god, I want to, like, hook up with the girl that looks just like my girlfriend." Like, that's just, like, fucked up. It's just completely fucked up, because it's like, ew. Like, focus on your girlfriend. Oh my god. And then also, the weird twisted part about this too is, like, if he's liked you for years, like, well, if your boyfriend suspected that he's liked you for years and stuff like that, and the girlfriend looks just like you, is this like a recent girlfriend? Because it's kind of weird. Like, why does she look like you? I just, this is weird. This is all types of weird. It sounds cuckoo. He sounds cuckoo over you, bro. Oh my god. It sounds like you have a fan. It sounds like you have a fan. It sounds like he kind of loves you. It sounds like he's a little obsessed with you. I'm not gonna lie. Because the fact that, I mean, if it's a recent girlfriend, it sounds to me like he got a girlfriend that looks like you, like on purpose, maybe. But he should be obsessing over her, like, not you, because you're taken already and stuff like that. I feel like if he had feelings for you, maybe he should have just outright said that. If he, like, genuinely, like, wants you, but also, like, you're happy with your man, so he should respect his friendship with his bro and also be, worshiping his girlfriend. But anyways, my advice to you would be, talk to your boyfriend about it first, just because, like, that is his friend. So, depending on what you do, like, that can affect the whole type of friend group dynamic and stuff. So talk with your boyfriend, see how you feel, and also maybe try to have your boyfriend kind of, like, talk to his friend and be like, "Oh, hey, bro, that's not cool. Like, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, you're making my girlfriend uncomfortable." Do something like that. Have him do something like that, or if you want to speak to him and your boyfriend's cool with that, yeah, just do as much communication skills as possible is my advice on this, because it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that he's going around saying that about his best friend's girlfriend. So, anyways, thanks for sharing that. Keep me updated, girl. I want to know how this goes. I want to absolutely know how this goes. So, yeah. Anyways, we are going to get into the last and final story of this episode. So, this one was also shared in the little anonymous notebook. So, this one says, my friend made me her maid of honor. We've only hung out on our own 3 times without our boyfriends. Every time I ask to hang out, she doesn't answer or has an excuse. She also is very territorial over me and my other best friend and gets mad and jealous if I bring her up. Okay, this sounds weird. this that's kind of strange, and it tells me a lot about this person too. So she made you her maid of honor, but you guys have only hung out 3 times without your boyfriends. Okay, it sounds to me like this girl maybe doesn't have too many friends, is what it's sounding like, which is like, it's sad because it's like, I would hope that she socializes enough and like makes friends, and like maybe she feels comfortable with you. Maybe that's why she asked you to be her maid of honor, because she feels comfortable around you, or maybe she couldn't find like any other like close friends or think of any other close friends that she could ask. Maybe she didn't have family that she could ask. So it's like I'm like slightly sad for her, but also at the same time, if you've asked to hang out with her, but then she always has like an excuse or doesn't answer, but then makes you the maid of honor, I don't know. I think that's kind of weird. It's just like, it's also rude because it's like, at least answer. Especially if you are going to be her maid of honor. Like, how is this bridal party going to go? Like, how does she, if you guys have only hung out a handful of times alone and you don't really know her like that well, I mean, how are you going to be planning her bridal party and putting things together with all of her other friends, if she has other friends, and planning things for her and doing maid of honor things? Like, how is that going to happen if she doesn't answer you? Now you guys are going to have to get together more, and she can't just keep making excuses or not answering. It's not fair to you. It's a waste of your time. And I also think it's really weird that she's so territorial over you and your other best friend and gets like mad and jealous because it doesn't seem like you guys are like crazy close. If you guys have only hung out 3 times without your boyfriends and all of the other times are with your boyfriends, like, it doesn't seem like you guys are crazy close. I mean, I guess sometimes, like, if you're hanging out in a group, like, you can get close with someone. I'm not going to deny that. But I feel like to really, really get close with someone to a point where you want to ask them to be your maid of honor, like, you've got to be hanging out with them one-on-one a lot more than just 3 times. I just think it's kind of weird, if I'm going to be honest with you. And if I were you, I mean, I would try to communicate with her the next time you see her in person, because if she doesn't respond over text and like makes up excuses, the next time you catch her in person, maybe try to pull her aside and have an actual conversation with her about it, just to see where her head's at, because you want to make sure that you guys are on the same page with things, because the last thing you want to do is for her to feel uncomfortable with her own decision, and also you feeling uncomfortable with accepting being in that position too, especially because, like you said, you guys have only hung out a handful of times, like, without your boyfriend. So I think just try to communicate with her in person rather than over text and really talk about it. And also bring up like how you're feeling about the whole territorial thing, because it's really not her place to kind of judge or tell you who and when you should hang out with your own friends. And maybe it could also be a thing of like, because she doesn't have many friends, like maybe she's feeling neglected, which honestly, that's not that much of your problem. It sounds like it's a personal thing for her, but still, I think just communicating and talking about it will help a lot more, because then you'll kind of figure out what you guys need from each other as friends in general, you know? So, yeah, that's my advice to you. But, anyways, thank you everybody for sharing all of your stories and secrets. I absolutely loved reading and listening to all of these. And it's always enjoyable for me to hear some type of tea. So, thank you everybody. And all of the questions that I asked in this episode to people who like sent in anonymous things, please like give me the answers, because I would actually really love to know any answers or tea or update that you have on things. And also feel free to stop by at the coffee shop, you guys. Like, if you're listening and you have not come in yet, like, please visit, because I would seriously love to get more stories. So absolutely come and visit. I go there every Saturday, Dark Horse Coffee and Kitchen in Sayville, Long Island, New York. So yeah, every Saturday, 1 to 2 p.m. Come visit. Anyways, we're going to be closing out the episode now with our usual sound healing. So let's clear up all of the energy we just let out. So we're going to sit back, lie down, relax, shut your eyes, take a deep breath in from your nose and out from your mouth. And I'm going to play. All right, you guys, thank you so very much for listening to the episode today. I absolutely love it when you guys listen. And if you were new here and you made it this far, thank you so much for listening like the entire time. Definitely means the most to me. And if you have not subscribed or followed or anything, go do that absolutely right now. New or old or oldies or OGs, go do that right now, literally. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys all have the bestest week ever, and I love you guys all so much. Goodbye!